Big business and the government are trying to sow the seeds of dissent among our ranks at a time when we need solidarity.
Well.
It's here! I hit my teeth with light.
You're a little drunk, aren't you?
I'm fucking hammered, dude. I tried to sleep it off at the end of the movie, and it didn't work.
That wasn't the end of the movie.
I am Brandon.
And
It
I'm
was
Jesse.
the end of the
I'm
movie.
Frank.
Don't diss me, Jordan. I've watched it 3 times.
You've spoiled all the fun that we're about to have. First of all, if you haven't listened to this podcast before, this is the Chronic Canon. We smoke
Welcome.
movies and we talk weed.
Live in our ears, not in yours.
If you don't like heat, get the fuck out.
You gotta go.
It's
Correct.
okay if you haven't seen it. That's
fine. It's just if you actively dislike it, like fuck the.
And we're
fuck
making
off.
it fast today because we have some guests. We have some guests to talk about a movie we love very much. And we're going to have them in rotation, coming in
Yes.
and out, giving their briefest thoughts on a film that's 3.5 hours long, directed by
Also
one Marty
brief.
Scorsese, who we've recently just covered his entire filmography, if you didn't know that. By the way, if you're curious about any of our previous episodes or any of the things that
Previous.
we have to say on this podcast,
Fuckering,
you can email
fuckatash.
us at thechroniccan@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at chroniccan.
You guys, Frank's an emotional wreck. He's not going to be
What?
featured on
What?
this episode.
No, I'm great.
I'm wrapping
Let's
it up.
fucking
I'm
talk
making
about
it
it.
fast so we can just talk about this
Yeah,
damn
we're
movie.
trying to be quick.
We already talked for 3 fucking hours last week. We hope you listened and enjoyed. I don't know. Is it good, Jesse? Have you listened yet?
No, he
I
hasn't even
haven't.
touched that.
Fucking A. All right. Well, hopefully it was all right. And now you're gonna hear some more people ramble about The Irishman.
Hopefully more coherently than we did.
Jesse's his best movie. Anybody who doesn't think so is a fucking moron. All right, let's
It's
start.
the best movie.
I disagree, Gary.
Our first guest is
First
a
and second
repeat,
guest.
a repeat, a retread.
We got
a
Marty
reheat.
himself here.
Marty's back to talk
Oh.
about his magnum opus.
Yeah, I'm Jordan. I'm also Marty. I'm here again.
Jordan, what was the film you talked about last with us again?
We talked about The Wolf.
That's
The
right,
Wolf of Wall
Street.
Street.
So if you haven't heard that
Hey,
podcast
you-
and you like what Jordan has to say, go back just a couple episodes ago. You
Probably
can hear-
don't.
You'll hear a
Don't do
very
that.
demanding young man. That's what you're going to hear.
You don't know shit about Chop.
Chop
your fucking credit
card. We're good, right?
Good shit. Yeah, we're good.
He forgot
All right,
to bring us our
Jordan.
poster.
Yeah,
I
he
did.
fucked up.
So last time I brought a Heat poster, and I have an Irishman Criterion cover poster, and I didn't bring it.
All right,
job.
and real fast. I know we did this last time, but we got to do it again. Heat check. Jordan.
You love heat?
Great ass.
Perfect.
Your head is all the way up it.
Good.
We know what that
Ralph!
means.
We know where your head stands.
Here's the thing. I'm instituting another rule.
No.
Last time, no, new rule. New rule. Much like last time, if you mentioned Jordan Belfort, I, as Jordan, would say, "What was that?"
That's
If you mention Frank Sheeran today, Frank has to say, "What was that?"
I'm sure
What was
not
that?
gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna do it.
I'm
yeah,
sure
my
not
favorite,
gonna.
my favorite scene with Frank Sheeran.
What was that?
That's right.
No one knows. It was Brandon, but no one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows. They can't
right.
tell who we are. It's not like we
I'm not
introduce
looking
each
at
other.
cheese.
I'm
Don't tell me I'm
Frank.
looking at cheese. I'm Jesse.
I had an operation. I'm Brandon.
I'm Marty.
All right.
There's no
Okay,
reason
so
why
Marty.
May is anymore.
So we talked for way too long last week, but today we want to hear other people talk about The Irishman. Jordan,
What do you think?
how many times have you seen the goddamn Irishman?
Yeah, that's it.
What was today's
God damn
number?
I think today's number was 5 or 6. I don't
5
know.
or
Good
6?
shit.
And you
That's
still
more than
don't think
me.
it's the
Yeah,
Yeah,
best?
it's a big handful. I like the Irishman.
It's
It's
a
an amazing.
big handful.
It's a
What does
big
that
handful.
mean?
I don't know.
So why isn't it Martin Scorsese's best?
I
and what
won't say
is
that.
his best?
I won't say that. I
You
think
won't say what?
that it's not his best because I think it might be.
Oh,
What? I thought you said no.
Oh,
What
no.
compares?
Goodfellas.
All right, that's okay. We did this last time. I forgot.
We did this. Yeah,
understandable.
we've had this conversation. Everything else, you can miss me with that shit. It's Goodfellas and this a movie.
What makes
right.
you unsure if this is better or not?
Yes. Is that how we blink?
That's how we
Thank you.
blink.
Okay.
That's the 420 warning.
Okay.
Like, what about Goodfellas better than The Irishman? What about
It's
The
more
Irishman better
fucking
than
fun.
Goodfellas?
No, Goodfellas is way more fucking fun. Yeah. But this is way more like makes me want to die and makes me want to cry.
Which
I love
both-
you, I love you, I love you, night, man.
Both
But
are
wouldn't those
serviceable.
both-
Sorry.
Wouldn't that be the hand-in-hand combination you'd want from those two movies?
Exactly. Well, that's why they're both like the god tier Sessie.
Complementary
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
By far, I think they're a foot and leg above. Was that the
Foot
what?
and leg? No.
That was
What's the
definitely
saying?
not a saying.
I'm buzzing. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's why they're both foot
Should
in
I
my
go get
mouth.
some more gin? I'm gonna get more.
No,
I'll wait.
you
I'll wait.
sit
When we
right
switch
there.
out a guess. When we
Stay.
switch out a guess.
All right, so
All right, my bad.
what did you take away from the movie most this time, do you think? At least what impressed you most? Maybe let's start there.
I actually liked the auxiliary performances more this time than I liked Pacino and Pesci and De Niro.
Blasphemy,
mean?
but go on.
What do you mean? Defend yourself.
No, I mean,
I can agree with him on that.
it's like the first
What the
time or
fuck's
two that
going
you
on?
watch it, you're like, oh, Pacino and De Niro and Pesci and Keitel, they're like, they rule.
Okay.
But this time it's like, why is it that I'm like super drawn into everybody else and every little thing? It's like Whispers. Whispers little like
Whispers.
yeah, Whispers like minute and a half. Like I'm
Wait.
like, God damn.
No, it's
Which
the other
Whispers?
Whispers. The other Whispers.
The other Whispers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I felt for him for like a minute.
Yeah, it was a great performance.
Exactly.
We're not saying everybody's
No. I'm saying this time though. I watched it. Everyone was like contributing their little bit to this nice little collage performance type thing that Ceci does. It's a big old collage of random minute and a half little bits of Italian. It's great.
Sweet
I love it.
Italian
Italian
Irish
greatness.
goodness.
Yeah, with the gabagool.
The gabagool is good.
I'll
in
have
this movie.
the gabagool.
Stephen Graham is slept on in this movie.
Big time.
Tony Pro. He's
Oh,
fucking
Tony-
amazing.
Yeah, dude. This
I mean-
watch especially, I was like, you know what? Fucking Tony Pro is like amazing.
With
Like,
shorts,
fucking
shorts to a
amazing.
meeting.
I'd say 15.
Can we talk about how that
It's
guy
Florida.
at
It's
the
hot
end,
out here.
the guy at the end looks just like fucking Tony Pro, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
how do
every
you do
time
that?
I watch the movie, I'm always like, what the fuck's
Bad
going on? Is that
casting.
It
Tony
literally
Pro?
looks like he's wearing a disguise. It's like that's not.
Well,
him.
because they're all
I'm
getting
Tony
older.
Joe.
There's already a Tony Jack.
There's like
No, hold on,
7
hold on.
fucking Franks.
I
Tony
took a
Jack's
note
the
of
one who
this.
died of natural causes. It was
Tony.
more like
Which
by-
Tony? They're all fucking named Tony.
All right. Tony Jack's actual name is Anthony Giacalone.
So
I'd
they
call him
just-
Tony Jack.
What the
Tony
fuck
Jack.
is that? Anthony Giacalone.
Hey, he was well liked by all.
I know.
Lived to
What, you
He
don't like
died of
Tony
natural
Jack?
causes.
February
2001.
2001. Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Would you say you have
Jordy.
any gripes with the movie?
Yeah, I've got plenty of crap.
We'll hear
What
them.
the fuck do you
I got
mean?
great.
Come on. Okay, no. I mean, no one can watch that movie and think that the
De-aging?
no one can think that it looks good.
No,
It
because it
doesn't
doesn't.
look bad.
Yes,
No, it doesn't
does.
look bad. No, it looks bad if you understand the age context of it. Like if you understand that he's supposed to be
Yeah, you're right.
like 20, like late 20s, early 30s, it looks horrible.
It looks
right.
really bad.
But the cop out, like every fucking Martin Scorsese movie has, there's a little cop out, which is they never give you the actual age that they're supposed to be.
Right.
They say, hey, kid, and they all grow up from there a little bit. I could watch it and think that when De Niro meets Pesci, they're, De Niro's early 40s and Pesci is like, late 50s, early 60s.
But I have a question.
And the story still makes sense to me.
I was about to say, does that matter to you?
Not really. That's
Because their performances are too good.
exactly. It
Right.
doesn't
But
totally.
it's still a gripe. We can still love
No,
the
that's what I'm
movie.
I'm saying it's an invalid gripe.
It's not an it kind of doesn't matter as much. Like if it mattered that De Niro was a really young dude, then it would matter more. But it doesn't matter.
No,
I
because
think
his
story still
performance
totally
is
makes sense.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
His performance is literally phenomenal that you just sort of forget about it. It's not that you get past the de-aging. It's just like De Niro does so well that it's like, yeah, sure. Whatever,
I don't know, man.
Whatever age you need me to believe you are, I'm going to fucking believe it so I can keep
I don't know.
watching.
If they were to say, "Hey, kid, you're 25," I think
I'd throw up.
This movie goes from like a great movie to being like, "God damn it!"
I
You're
think he's
expecting me
supposed to start at 19. I think
No,
that's how
he's
it
Yeah,
is.
not.
that's a
Yeah.
bad idea.
Because he said that he's been
So
working
fucked.
when he gets in trouble for the meat, which is before he even becomes truly affiliated with the mob.
No, at the very
He-
beginning, though.
They
in the
say
scene
that
with
he's
Russell.
been working for the fucking mob.
No, I
Yeah,
think
no.
he's
8
mid-20s. I think he's
Mid-20s?
I think like 24. I did the math once, and it's absurd no matter what.
Yeah.
No, unless he started working for that union when he was 18. At the very least, he's 26.
You're talking about when he's not when he's.
I never caught Buffalino, but until this viewing, Buffalino, the lawyer, says that he's
Ray?
never taken
Ray.
Ray
Mr.
Romano.
Romano? Yeah.
He says he's never taken a day of sick leave in the 8 years he's been working. So
That's
he's,
true. Yeah.
So he's got it. He's been working for 8 years. He also served time in the army. So I'd guess he's at least like 30, 31 maybe.
At the
Yeah, no, it's,
latest.
All right.
That's like
yeah,
really
it's
giving
still
them some
absurd.
leeway.
It's reaching. It's reaching.
anything younger than like mid to late 30s is really pushing
And most
it.
of the time, I don't really notice that. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you guys really are fucking old. But every now and then, it's like, I know that that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
The curb stomps. Like,
It's
no,
really
that's-
bad.
Get over it.
It's really
No,
bad. No,
it
I'm-
isn't. No,
Thank you,
goddamn-
Jordy. Thank you.
I can't. No, it's not something that drastically takes away from the movie. It's just like,
But like
they're
it is
old. They're
bad.
old as
Such a
fuck.
good scene.
It's a
so
great
well
scene.
shot and choreographed. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
It's dope.
it can't be well choreographed if he looks like fucking shit when he's doing
He
it.
does it.
Yes, he
Yeah, he
does.
looks
I want to go
Sarah
watch you
De Niro.
curb stomp someone and make fun of how stupid you fucking look.
Take a step outside and we can do it.
God damn!
Let's go!
Welcome
Right.
to the Irishman episode
Jesus
part 2.
Christ, man.
I killed Brandon.
I'm dead.
Who's your favorite of the Trinity? Come on. De Niro,
Yeah,
Pacino,
it's De-
Pesci.
It's De Niro, especially because I'm.
Of course it is, but
This,
then who?
No. Here's the thing. De Niro on the phone with Joe Hoffa is probably my favorite. Like 30 seconds of like sort of sorry ass, sort of sad, sort of regretful cinema ever. It's amazing. I
That's
love it.
the best moment of acting ever.
Perfect.
But
And
gonna be
Thelma's
okay.
jump cut.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
One
it's
jump
the best.
cut.
It's
I
amazing.
thought it was more.
I think it's
Literally
just one.
It's just the one at the
Yeah,
beginning.
I'm trying to think of how do I wrap myself up on this.
Well, okay, I got you. Pacino or Pesci? Who's your supporting guy?
It is
Who
what it
who
is.
impresses you more?
I think honestly, with context to the rest of the roles that I
Okay.
love, those guys probably Pesci.
Motherfucker.
I mean, he's super restrained, man. You
Yeah,
gotta really
this is
give him
not
some props
the
on
Pesci
that.
role you expect.
No,
Like
of course.
at all.
He's literally a god in this.
He's the
You can't
dude.
be
He's
mad
that
about it.
dude. He's that dude in this
Should
movie.
we have a scoreboard? That's one for Pesci.
That's
one for Pesci.
No,
Oh, I mean, De Niro gets like the instant walk to
Duh.
the finish line,
Duh.
right? Okay,
Duh.
Yeah.
cool.
That one's a given.
Now,
Okay.
It's between the
what's
two.
your favorite quote from the
That's
movie?
what I was going to ask.
Cocksucker, motherfucker.
Oh, it's okay.
That
On like our
cocksucker Kennedy!
11th episode, I called Frank
It's
a
the guinea
wop.
wop
Oh,
cocksucker,
it was
motherfucker.
intense. He even remembers the episode. That's how intense it
Because
was.
we all stopped, and I was like, I forgot that was racist, and you were Italian. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't
no,
matter.
we can
I
make.
don't give a shit.
Yeah, Frank doesn't count.
I sure don't.
Well, Jordan,
What'd you say? What was
you
that?
guinea wop
What did you-
cocksucker,
What did
motherfucker.
you call me?
Jordan, Marty, Mr. Scorsese.
Is there anything
It's
else
been
you
a
want to say
yeah.
before we pass the mic off? This is your
We're
final
done
moment.
with Ceci is over. Ceci's
Yeah,
He's
no.
dead.
done.
You're
He's
dead
done.
now.
We're moving on.
Well, he's not dead.
No,
don't you ever.
until whatever the new thing, the flower.
Killer in the Flower Moon?
Yeah,
Yes.
Flower Moon. Yeah.
We'll definitely talk about
yeah.
that when
What
it
do you want to
drops.
say about Ceci? What do you want to say to the Irishman? We're going to give you
He's-
the floor. We'll shut up for
It's just-
2 minutes at most.
No, I have about 10 seconds.
Get it.
Above anyone else in movie history, he is that dude to make movies. He's that dude. He makes the coolest movies with the coolest people that also are like just hit you right in the fucking heart. And Ceci's that dude.
Here,
No one
here.
else is ever gonna touch it. And I
Shut
love you
up.
guys, and I love Ceci, and Marty out.
All right, we're going to pass the mic from Jordan to another guest. First time
A
guest.
new
A
guest.
first-time guest on the Chronic Canon.
This is our old friend. His name is Mike. Sorry,
Mike
you can
Wazowski.
introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I really like hearing the sound of my voice through headphones.
Yeah, isn't it
That's awesome.
something?
That's great.
Isn't it wonderful? That's why we do this.
All right, first things first, motherfucker.
Heat check.
How do you feel about Heat?
Do you know what heat is?
Great movie. Great.
Okay. Oh, okay.
How great?
So great.
All right.
No, I love Heat. Frank and I were debating about Heat and Thief last week, or like that was like 3 weeks ago at this
Yeah.
point. But
He's a thief guy.
I
Oh, you
love
like Thief
yeah.
the best, huh?
Oh, Thief over Heat?
That's like my favorite stuff from Heat is from Thief, like that.
I get that.
Don't get attached to anything you can't walk out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
What
watch
about
Thief
Manhunter,
again.
though? Manhunter over all of them, right?
I think Brian Cox is better. I like him more than Anthony Hopkins. Everyone shits on me for that.
I'm with that, though.
I used
He
to.
does a
with
very. I don't know,
The
man.
last watch, I finally turned to Team Hopkins.
Boo.
He's so good, Jesse.
Yeah, but Brian Cox is nuanced.
Yeah, that's
I
hack, bro.
understand. All right, what the fuck?
Doesn't
Like
matter.
Heat. What's your favorite quote?
Probably I will not hesitate to put you down. I just like the way he said.
That's a niche one. That's a niche one. Good job.
That's one that no
yeah.
one cited yet, I don't think. I would
Yeah,
not
that's a
hesitate.
first.
No.
And who do you prefer, Patini or De Niro?
In that movie.
Still Heat.
And Heat, yes, Pacino.
All
right.
that's my man.
That's fair.
Do you
that's fair.
are you ever aroused by Neil McCauley?
I think it's McCaffrey, right?
No, McCauley.
McCaffrey.
Who the fuck did you just ask?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, the whole way through.
All right, good. Now The Irishman.
Yeah,
Mike,
that's what we're here to talk about. The Irishman.
this is your first viewing?
First viewing.
How do you feel about Ceci?
Love Ceci. Who doesn't love Ceci?
What are your favorite Cecis before today?
I mean, probably King of Comedy. I love. That's like a great one.
Brandon and I just revisited. Wonderful movie.
And I haven't seen Goodfellas in so long that I remember loving it, but I can't speak about it honestly.
Man, if you watch it again, you'll love it even more.
That's
it's
what
fucking
everyone's
dope.
telling me.
It's a fun movie.
All right, so what about Ceci? What do you like? What is it? Tell us.
About him.
Yeah, not at the movie specifically. We just asked that. It might have been confusing.
Like, what about his style? What about fuck?
He's got just a giant bag of tools. He can do really cool montage kind of sequences. Everything has a very good pacing, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Pace King.
Yeah.
He and Thelma. The
Him
two
and
of them.
Thelma.
All right,
Hand in
Minute
hand.
pace.
so shadoby doby do. How do you feel about The Irishman?
It's all right. It wasn't bad.
Yes! Fine. I'm so glad you're on this episode.
Brandon's just been waiting for this
all
day.
right.
As long as you don't think it's bad.
No, I love it. I love it for sure. But I've just been waiting because it feels wrong when we all have the same
We
opinion.
monopolized the love.
I really have been wanting a separate one, but the problem is all of our friends are also like, "Oh yeah, we love this movie too." So I was
It's
waiting
the
for
best.
And the only bad things I've heard about it are just like, yeah, the de-aging sucks, and they don't give what's the name of Peg, the actress who plays adult
Anna
Peggy?
Paquin.
They're like Anna Paquin only has one line, and that's what people generally shit on, and I usually
And the length.
dismiss the. Well, you can't. I don't care about you. Like, is the length a real diss though?
People do diss
If people
it.
are just mad about long movies in general,
Mike,
it's like
you
a
hate
2.5.
the length?
Yeah. How do you feel about 3.5 hours?
It was actually paced pretty well. At one point, I had to go to the bathroom and paused, and it was 80 minutes left. And Frank said we're 80 minutes in. And I thought,
I was fucking with
yeah, we were 2.5 hours in. I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst movie ever. But it was actually pretty well paced for a 4-hour movie.
Once
I was
you
into it
realized
the
how
whole
far in
time.
we actually were.
I mean, I can
This is
imagine.
the worst movie ever.
So what didn't do it for you?
I just there was a lot of it that was great, and he used his whole bag of tricks. There's great sequences, but just not all of them landed for me. And a lot of other thing, I was just thinking, if De Niro had this part as a young person, you wouldn't be distracted by the CGI of it. It would have been a really kind of funny performance. But instead, I'm just I believe it, I guess, because they made it look like that. And I disagree. I thought Pacino was my favorite in the movie too.
There we go.
One for Pacino.
Yeah.
And Pesci too, I thought was really good.
Yeah. I mean, nothing against
Pesci's in the
Pesci.
background. That's why I think Pacino stands out to us a bit more.
Fucking fathers.
Well, come on. It just didn't apply to you. You know that.
It didn't apply to you.
He gives how do, fuck.
They killed
They killed him.
Everything he does in that movie is fucking gold. I don't
Just
care.
They're just having a good time. Well, he's having a good time.
He's
until
having a
the
good time
end.
until he's not, and
Yeah.
he's so good at being sad.
There he is.
I feel sad when Pacino said they wouldn't dare. There's a fear in his eyes during that scene. What's your favorite scene from what you can recall of what you just witnessed?
I was probably right up there when he's actually he's just in total denial about the fact that he's dealing with people who are fucking
The worst.
the worst.
Gonna murder him.
He's they'll respect me and be reasonable. No, they won't.
What about any of this has showed you that they are respectable and reasonable?
The thing that always kills me when he's like, "Why won't he get it through his skull?" And it's why won't you?
Yeah.
It's so upsetting.
Get it through his thick skull.
So he's gonna put something through your thick skull, and yeah.
It's exactly what happens.
Do you think you're gonna watch it again sometime so you can realize the error of your ways?
No, I don't think I am. I might, just because there was some distracting background in it, and I feel
Definitely not the environment for a first viewing. Generally,
Yeah.
with
Well,
that
no,
many
it was
people
fun. I had a good
screaming over
time.
The whole thing.
You
Yeah.
enjoyed watching The Irishman.
I did. I had a good time watching it.
All right.
But
At least there's that. At least you don't fucking hate it.
no, I don't hate it. Just the graphics on the PS5 are gonna be great, and it was good.
Is there something you'd like to add that we haven't prompted you to say?
You brought up Anna Paquin, and how she was. Is that a criticism? She was underutilized.
People
Yeah.
criticized that she had no dialogue.
They
Yeah.
say Martin Scorsese doesn't care about women and she only has one line.
She does, but I just thought, why even they aged her back a little bit? She's kind of young enough, and she's not they aged those guys because they're legends and they're trying to bring this cast together again. But it's they brought in Anna Paquin too for some reason. I don't know why exactly. And like it's like why not just have like Sharon Tate be a waitress in the diner and just do her face? Like didn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't know if they de-aged her or not, only because I think in the making of stuff I've read that it's just the three of them for some reason, but they may have. There's more research that may need to be done.
Did they de-age Harvey Keitel?
No, they just use
old.
practical makeup.
Yo,
Same for what's the name? Razor, the guy from the
Bobby
beginning.
Cannavale.
Oh, Bobby Cannavale. Why did I say Razor?
I don't know.
He worked with the razor in the slaughterhouse first scene.
see.
Yeah.
I think that's what I assume that's what you were thinking.
Yeah,
his
Bobby
character's
Cannavale.
name is Skinny Razor.
They don't DH him, but they use practical makeup to like
Yeah.
push him forward.
So I think
Well, it's because De Niro, Pesci, and fucking Pacino are all like 80. And everybody else is like the 50s,
Pacino's
40s.
literally 80.
And I don't want to keep harping on it because it is like the cliche criticism of the movie, but just they had old man face that was smooth. Like their lips were still kind of curled towards their teeth and they had giant earlobes.
There's only
But
so
I
much
mean,
you
if
can
it's
do.
distracting, it's
That were
distracting.
Smooth.
it
I
was,
love the description.
and shiny. I got to rewatch that movie.
Hey, it still
Well, hey,
works.
the second shot of the movie is like, oh, fuck. So the moment you restart it, you're like, damn, I'm already seeing shit.
What was the second shot of the movie actually Hoffa's brain?
yeah,
that's what I
dude.
thought.
That's Hoffa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Pretty
noticed this
wild.
time for the first time, he says the whole thing, that whole thing was based in Detroit. It's immediately after showing Shooting Hoffa. Like
Yeah.
they are alluding to it from the get go. Like, no, I'm doing a murder in Detroit.
Yep.
He always was.
The whole thing was centered around the wedding, which the movie is too. Kind of.
I mean, yeah. Waka waka. Mikey, anything else you need to add?
No, I'm honored to be on here, and
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll bring you back for
We're
a
honored to
less
have you.
chaotic time.
The Thief
Yeah, for
podcast
longer.
one day.
Yeah.
I gotta add a thing.
All right, fine. Jordan's
I'm
coming
sorry.
back.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Yeah, no,
breaking
Marty's
the
back.
rules.
No. Here's the thing. I took a note while I was watching that.
Oh, he took a note.
I'm a stab you.
Do it. Do it!
No, at the close to the end of the movie, De Niro's character is watching like a baseball game, and I think he's at his own house, and then it switches to him getting up and he's like walking around, and then it switches to like a war broadcast sort of news thing, and he falls down in the hallway, and he's like right at the edge of another doorway that is like a bunch of light shining in. And I think that I might be getting a little meta, but that's Scorsese. Like, he's seeing the light. He's really worried about death. He's really worried about things just blending together. Just the old man watching baseball, watching the war broadcast, getting up, trying to walk away, trying to get to the light, and he can't quite fucking get there. That old piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding.
So he's got to leave the door open.
He's
a little
struggling. Yes. Well, we out. I'm gonna go drink more. It was nice having
Jordan,
Always
having
a
us.
bit. It was a pleasure.
Yes. Did
you say
Thank
it
you
was
both.
nice?
It was nice having us.
Pleasure.
Love you, buddy. Love you, other buddy. Goodbye, buddies.
What about what
I'm
movie?
sorry. I apologize that I'm off the fucking rails. This movie destroys me, and if I'm not going off the rails, I'm just going to be sitting here
So
wanting
just
to
so
cry.
Why do you apologize?
the audience is in reference here, if we would have recorded our episode on The Irishman that we released last week, hot off the initial watch, it would have been even more disastrous.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I was sobbing. I wasn't human.
No, it was
We were
rough.
Barely
we were
human right now.
shells
How
of
was it this
people.
time?
Just equally devastating. I wasn't sobbing because
Like-
there was more people.
But I mean,
I
like
would've
side to side rewatches.
It's fine. I don't know. Just felt like it was just more miserable, actually. It's like, I just did this, and now it feels like you're sticking your thumb in a bullet wound.
That's the worst.
It's just like, cool.
Just
Cool,
pouring salt
thanks.
right in.
I think I've reached like a neutral zone with it, where it's like now I watch it and I'm like, yep, it's a good movie.
Cool.
So
You.
I'm glad I got there.
Our third
All right,
guest
we gotta
on
make
this
it fast.
episode
Yes,
is
sir.
Sorry,
another
way too
former
long.
guest. Another former guest that we once had on for Shutter Island. You might remember him. This is the Dukas. The
This
Duke.
is the
Luke.
Duke.
Duke
Hello.
is back.
He's back.
Duke, what episode were you on again?
I just said it.
Yeah.
I want you to say it.
I was on the Shutter Island episode.
Yes, sir, with the Marshall.
So I know we already did this, but
Heat
Luke,
check.
Heat check.
Absolutely. Heat, best action film ever made.
We'd love to
Period.
hear it.
What's
Give
your
me-
quote of the
give-
week?
Give me a quote.
I was about to say sit down, Ralph, again, but I
Do
don't
it.
want to do it.
You can.
Sit down, Ralph.
Sit down.
Perfect.
Lucas, we're here to talk about The Irishman, not about Heat. I
Absolutely.
want to know what you think. How do you feel? Out of all the Sessies you've watched, where does it rank? You got to tell us.
How many times have you seen it?
Yeah, that too.
Both these things.
All of it.
Well, we had just watched The Irishman. That was my third viewing of The Irishman.
Nice. Me too.
And after that viewing, I can say with confidence that Irishman is my favorite film from Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
Praise be, hallelujah.
We got it.
We're back
Rope
on a
them in.
sensical lane. I'm
Irishman
thinking.
for the win.
Right. So what did it for you this time that it didn't do it before?
It's not really necessarily that it didn't do it for me before. I was just more uncertain, especially because I hadn't seen Taxi Driver in so long, which was my original favorite
Really?
Martin Scorsese film. Yeah, it's been at least a year or two. It hasn't been that long, but I definitely had watched The Irishman those 2 times and then haven't seen Taxi Driver. But
Is Taxi Driver your second favorite, Jesse?
No.
Yes. Okay, sorry for asking.
Yes, no, it is. It
Okay,
is.
2 seconds.
It took me a minute. There are a few. It's
Yeah.
The top 5 is really fucking tight. Apart from
Yeah.
The Irishman.
Casino
Yeah.
King, Comedy, Taxi Driver, that was only 4.
I was saying, yeah,
After
maybe
Hours? Yeah.
Sure.
After Hours is also up there.
Fuck
but
yeah. We love After Hours.
Yes.
Okay,
it's
so
the
Taxi
rank
Driver
number
was
2.
your favorite.
Yeah, Taxi Driver was my favorite, but what absolutely did do it for me this viewing, especially because I kind of had a gut feeling that when I was going to watch this again, I'm like, oh, okay, I think that, yeah, this is it. And to be consistently blown away by how terrifically edited the cast, the script, everything about that film is perfection. And especially with its 3.5 hour length, which is something that I remember when the film was coming out, when I heard about that length, that like drew me off a little bit because, yeah, but especially because I don't usually watch movies that are 3.5 hours, like usually. So I didn't know if the pace would drag it for me or not. But after that first viewing, immediately I'm like, oh my God, this
Never does.
It never drags one bit. You're just so entranced into the story the entire time, and especially if you've seen movies like Goodfellas and previous Martin Scorsese films, because this just feels like such a, not really farewell, but just a thank you that Scorsese was giving to so many of not just the cast members, because he had worked with De Niro and Pesci, but it's so weird to think that he had never worked with Pacino before.
Pacino. All right,
It's
They had
so
in
weird.
spirit.
that's a different.
Yeah.
Quick
But yeah.
segue. Who do you prefer, Pacino or Pesci? They're both obviously amazing, but who would you say is number 1?
In the beginning, when I first watched it, I was thinking Pesci, but now it's got to be Pacino. Because out of all the times that we've either screamed fucking cocksucker Kennedy or any goddamn quote from Jimmy Hoffa in that film,
Dumb
it's
motherfuckers.
It's the heart and soul.
yeah, Pacino gave it his all. If he never,
Peggy.
like, if he had never done a film again after that, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense.
I feel
Like,
that way about literally all of them.
Have you
yeah.
ever cried during the ice cream part? Because I cried hard during that part this time.
No, I tensed up.
Yeah, it was
I
rough.
cried. Tensed up though. Did you cry, Dukas?
on my first
Leave me alone. I'm going through puberty.
my first and second viewing of the movie, it did not this time, not
in
really.
group setting, a little harder to cry.
Yeah, but it just like made me go so deep in thought, because The Irishman is also just such a like good portrayal of like not just like the mobster life, but like could just resemble in like fears of loneliness that I think any human being can relate to, especially when it comes to near the end of that film, which is some of the most tragic shit that has ever been put to film.
The best 80 minutes of movie.
Once it hits the party, it's off.
It's a
The
sprint.
award banquet or whatever it is.
And I think I was talking about this earlier, but I kind of threw myself off. But how Scorsese was using this as a thank you to like a lot of the people he had worked with in the past and crew members that he had behind his back throughout so many other projects, and new crew members as well.
Ferretti isn't the production designer on this, right?
No, it's
Some rando.
yeah, somebody fucking else. Let me look real.
But
fast.
Ferretti's on Killers of the Flower Moon.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Bob Shaw.
Yeah, and
Who only other credits it looks like are Wall Street and Deliver Us from Evil.
Wait,
The
the doc?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
okay, so he had done
I don't
one
know.
other Sessie.
Fuck him. Fuck 'em. All right, how do you feel
Fuck
about
'em.
Bobby D?
About Bobby D. I always mix that actor's name with Bobby Mooninghan from SNL for some reason.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah. Like for some reason those names just kept mixed. I think it's just because both their names are Bobby, but
His name's Robert. Frank called him
Robert
Bobby.
D. Niro. How do you feel about him? This film.
he was fucking snubbed. And I was thinking of another actor in that movie when it came to Bobby Mooneyhan. I can't remember what the name of this character. Yeah.
Got it.
But Robert De Niro was absolutely phenomenal in this film. It's by far my favorite performance from him. It just feels like it's literally a full-on crescendo of everything he has fucking done, and it's just put right in your face.
Minus Raging Bull.
I have not seen Raging Bull in so long. I really need to go back to that.
Off the wall
the only one you get is his freak out at the grocery store.
Right. That's about as close as it gets. And when he makes the guy get in the car. Get in the car.
Get in the
fucking car. I'm not fucking.
Don't you try to be cute with me about that shit about your fucking mother.
The fact that he didn't get nominated for this film, and it's such a shame. Like, that is Robert De Niro's entire tribute to his entire career.
I mean, that is.
I think it's a testament to his ability at the very least.
Yeah.
And that seems to be. I agree with you, Luke. I think that is the vibe of the whole film. Like,
Yeah.
a thank you, a goodbye, or whatever. Like
Yeah,
a
because
culmination.
An epitaph.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to watch Goodfellas, but I did listen to your guys' podcast a couple of days about Goodfellas.
Our what?
Our podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
About Goodfellas before I came here, because I didn't have time to watch the film, because like then thinking about Goodfellas and then watching Irishman, you just sink back in your chair even further. It's
True.
So fucking nuts.
They're pretty. They do feel pretty linked.
Yeah,
Almost like documentary
and
feel.
yeah, not just like the whole Robert De Niro's in it, Joe Pesci's in it, and directed by Martin Scorsese. It's not even just that, and also they're both mobster films, but especially two Goodfellas, they really do feel like how Goodfellas was kind of like the walk to the top of the mountain, and then Irishman is just like you've already had that, so you just have to find this other fuel, and it's some of the most passionate filmmaking that you could ever watch.
What's your favorite quote?
It could have been Cocksucker Kennedy, but honestly, is the first time Jimmy Hoffa says, "I heard you paint houses."
Heard you paint houses.
Basically, the first thing he says to Frank.
I heard you paint houses.
Like, hello, Frank.
Hello, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Right. I heard you paint houses. I do my own carpentry too. And the smile on God.
I do my own
Pesci's
carpentry
face.
too.
Yeah.
That's another great addition to it. It's
Our
fucking
friend
brilliant.
speaks very highly of you.
Hurts.
He's a hard man to please.
I feel like it may seem like Joe Pesci's performance may be a little bit more dragged a bit under just because of how fucking phenomenal De Niro and Pacino are in this film, but Joe Pesci, he's just so damn good in this film.
Joe Pesci's doing something he's never done before,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Fucking
and
great.
it's just so crazy how just after this long he can still just be that fucking intimidating as just in a snap.
Yep.
It's-
Barely lifting a finger.
Yeah. It's insane how good it is, especially because I fucking watched Home Alone last night.
The Wet Bandits.
A good one, too.
Yeah, literally. That's
is.
so weird that Home Alone's the same year as Goodfellas.
Yeah.
It
Literally
is the
hilarious.
same year as
Yeah.
Holy
Goodfellas.
shit.
I heard
I
a
haven't thought of that.
I heard a story that Christopher Columbus apparently told in which he said something like when he first talked
That's
to
the
Joe
director of
Pesci,
Home Alone.
director
Go
of
on.
Home Alone, talked to Joe Pesci about reading the script. Joe Pesci said something like, "Now, when I normally read a script, the only way I'll take the role is if I can see myself saying a curse word between like every word. So if a line says, I'm using the poster on my wall, I walked with a zombie, I'd say, I fucking walked with a fucking cock-sucking zombie in his head. And if he feels like it works, he'll take the part.
Apparently, it took a long time to get him to stop swearing while making Home Alone.
That doesn't surprise me.
Which is why every time he freaks out, he goes,
and you can tell, like, in some certain mutters that, oh, he was definitely going to say fuck or shit there. But no, anyway.
Not in The Irishman.
Yeah, not in The Irishman. He was able to say fuck as much as he wanted to.
Does he say fuck?
If he does, it's not on the nose like it is in Goodfellas.
Oh, absolutely not. It's
Yeah, that's Pacino's role here.
or just that's such a common phrase of Joe Pesci now that we don't even realize it.
Right.
That's true. I can't actually say for sure. Lucas, you made me think of a point that I feel like we haven't talked about too much. That it's like only half a mobster movie. Like it's a union movie too, but whatever. But it's more just a workers movie.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
working.
I
Blue
think that's
collar.
the reason why the movie, you can drum the empathy from it. It's
Yep.
because this is a job for him.
It's just a job. He says that in his opening monologue. Like I was a worker. I was a working man.
Well, it's what makes the scene where they eat bread over wine that much more tragic, where Buffalino realizes he can take advantage of him because the kid's just going to take orders because he doesn't have a consciousness like full enough to be able to give himself some real autonomy, a real
To then
personality.
near the wine at the end, the
Yep.
wine and bread at the finale.
Or Pesci can't even eat it.
his shaking, his fucking hand.
Mm-hmm.
I was losing it. Like, I don't. You'll see. That's my favorite line. Don't laugh.
You'll see.
You'll see.
It's a good one.
Don't laugh.
And just like the look on his face too, it just shatters you.
Lucas, do you have any final thoughts on The Irishman before we bring up the next guest?
Yes. My final thoughts on The Irishman is,
Yeah, get it out.
while I say it's Martin Scorsese's best film, it's so much more meaningful than that because it literally has, especially for you guys went through this entire, his entire filmography in order, and this movie just feels like an exact, like, tribute to like thank you for watching all of this, and thank you for embracing the power of filmmaking that only Martin Scorsese has been able to deliver on screen. And it's been talked about many times how he's the perfect filmmaker who can take an artistic formula and also make it work for a general audience. And The Irishman, I think, is the best possible example because I have not met a single person who has said that The Irishman is a bad film.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Oh, you have? I'm so sorry.
They're dead to me. It doesn't matter.
And I think it takes a lot from, like, remember when Martin Scorsese was getting a bunch of hate for how he was, like, shitting on Marvel and a bunch of crap like that. And I think, like, a good reasoning to what he was saying is how the feeling that you can have in Marvel films after that entire journey, Martin Scorsese makes you feel that exact emotion, gratitude.
That full cumulative effect.
Yeah, gratitude and just fulfillment, while also so much dread that it was delivered in one film, but and stuff like MCU took like 20-something movies for it to actually feel it. And
Lucas,
That's a really good point.
I hear you. It's valid. Now get the fuck off of the pod.
Well, I
No,
I wanna
he's
say one
gone.
thing. No, I want to say one
Get
thing.
out!
I want to say one thing to Lucas before he goes. Just that I appreciate this positivity of The Irishman bringing to him.
Same.
It's like nice to hear. Like, right, I guess there is probably a nice way to look at this movie.
yeah.
It's not just all dour and dim.
Like, obviously, it's a dour movie. You're not saying you have,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a movie that everybody needs to watch at least one time.
No, the thank you viewing, the
Yeah.
accumulation viewing, like that
Yeah.
is thank you for bringing that into the
Yeah.
zeitgeist because I feel that now. It does feel it felt like a reward when we, spent the better part of a fucking year watching a bunch of Martin Scorsese movies and we finally get to The Irishman and it's like he knew we were watching this whole time. It's like,
Yeah.
You're welcome, boys. Sit down and shed a few tears.
And just for anyone who appreciates film, oh man, it's such a powerful project.
Powerhouse. It's a great
Well,
movie.
we hope you've seen the movie if you're listening to fucking our second.
At least if you're
listening.
listening to part 2, you would have seen it, right?
Like, that'd
Right.
be fucking
Yeah.
insane. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Turn this off and go watch it.
Then Heat if you still haven't.
Amen.
Like, at
And
what
that-
fucking point? All right. Goodbye,
the
dude.
perfect point
Adios.
to head
Love
out.
ya. See you
Bring
soon.
up
Love ya.
our next guest.
All right, I'm Duke. Goodbye.
Yes.
We have
Another
our
former
headliner.
guest.
the
our
return
headliner.
of the king, if you will.
The voice that we've been wanting to hear talk about The Irishman for the last few weeks.
So we'll set it up pretty nicely. I'm Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Frank.
I'm Nick.
Yeah, Nicky.
He's
We
back,
did
baby.
it.
Welcome. What's up,
Former
Nick?
guest.
Oh man, I'm still.
How
I'm
you
reeling.
been?
I'm been
No,
good.
I don't care. Heat check. Favorite quote right now.
Oh, wait. Slow down. How do you feel about Heat?
Fucking love it.
Yeah, we know.
He's,
What's your-
he's literally wearing a Oh, wait, that's not
No,
Heat,
he's
though.
wearing his
But
Miami,
Miami
Vice shirt.
Vice.
For the people at home, he's wearing a shirt with Colin Farrell's face on it, basically doing a De Niro face.
Oh, 100%.
And it says, I'm a fiend for mojitos. It's a beautiful shirt.
Very aesthetically pleasing. So, yeah, you like
And
Heat?
Tyler, we're
Love
wearing our Irishman shirts as well.
I'm
Just so you
not.
know.
I fucking forgot.
Well, Frank's not.
You got to give us a quote before
Yeah,
we
give
talk
us a
about
Heat
the
quote.
Irishman.
Favorite quote right now.
My son rises and sets with her, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we love it.
It's great.
The best sunrises.
We love Val
Kilmer.
Kilmer. It's so emotional.
Val Kilmer does
Weirdly.
really phenomenal.
Plus, Jordan could do the Val Kilmer haircut. He's
That
about to pull
last
it
scene
off.
Kilmer has in the movie is some of the hardest shit I've ever seen in my life.
When she waves him away.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's
And then
like
when
looking
he's
up and
driving, and
smiling.
his the,
Face.
the score.
Yeah. He's the only one who lives, but his life is
Yeah.
over.
Like, he lives, but he also dies on the inside.
Because the
Crime
sun
doesn't-
rises and,
And
sets with
her.
man.
Crime does not
Kidding
pay.
me? Yeah, all right, that's a good one, Nicholas. All right, The Irishman. We have told the tale, I think, more than once, but you were at that original screening in New York with Jesse and I.
Yes,
I being
sir.
Frank.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
So tell us, Nick, is this your second viewing, third, fourth, seventh, ninth?
I mean,
Where you
I've
at?
watched varying points of it for hours at a time. So,
Okay.
all
Now, I did
full-
want to point out that we also somehow miraculously, like this wasn't planned, but we were sitting in the exact same seat order as we were at that theater also.
Holy shit.
That's hilarious. I didn't even think about that. That the three
And
of
just
us
as
were on the
emotional.
couch,
Yeah, all cuddling right at the start. Yeah, good. In perfect form.
I felt the same vibe.
Okay. Did it? So it hit just as hard as it did in the theater.
Oh, I'd say so. For
Did it
sure.
hit different?
I mean, I
Sorry.
think the first time through was definitely just a special experience, but still watching it all the way through in one sitting is a very important thing for this movie.
Yeah.
Incredibly important.
Like
How
the most important thing.
It's absolutely crucial. Even I remember thinking that when we were at the Belasco that it would be nice to have an intermission, and I'm kind of glad they didn't though.
Yeah, same.
Having
I
the
think-
straight run through.
When
was
I think
incredible.
about this movie, I think about how David Lynch told people that you can't watch a movie on your fucking phone. But I think about how it's like you cannot don't watch The Irishman in chunks, please. I'll be happy that
Weirdly
you
enough,
watched it regardless, but don't
I
watch
think
it
there's
in
only
fucking chunks.
one spot that I would put in an intermission if you had to, and I think it's right after he says, "I just got off the phone with General Patton," because that takes you into the rest of the whole movie.
That's like
and
only an hour in.
Yeah, I know. if that, it might even be 45 minutes
Right.
in. But that's where it's like, okay, you have your time now to figure
Sure.
out, do I want to stay or do I
Sure.
want to go? Because this is the more it's going.
This is the start of the true movie.
Yeah.
The movie
You get
doesn't
your-
really start until Hoffa shows up.
That's basically your prologue, giving you everything
Yeah.
you need to know before the real novel
crazy.
begins.
So Nicholas, Irishman. Amongst
Irishman.
all Cessies, what's it do for you?
Well, to me, it's top of the line just because it hits everything the hardest. You get the
Numero
full,
uno?
Oh yeah, because you get the full come up story like you do in Goodfellas, but it carries it all the way through to its logical end. It gets more of the political stuff than it does in Casino, which is what I like about Casino over Goodfellas, and it brings it all home with a character that. And the first time through, I did think that too. I thought that De Niro was a little bit flat, and I was like, this guy's just kind of stumbling over stuff. He seems like he's not that important. How is he the guy? And I think that's the point, though. That's something that I realized really cemented this time. It's just that he's involved. He just does what he's told. He's a soldier in all of this, and he gets lucky. He meets the right people.
Jesus.
And something that I was thinking about too when we were watching Heat actually 2 weeks ago
Nice.
is the way that him, De Niro, and Pacino interact on screen has some precursors in Heat when they're on the diner
they're
scene.
definitely like friendly. Like by the time that
They're
they're making
chums.
that scene, you
They're
know.
chums.
Yeah, you can tell they've had on-screen chemistry before. It's incredible.
Dude, they were friends. People, for some reason, I'm just gonna get into this real fast. I swear to God. For some reason, for years, there was weird rumors that like they hated each other and were like enemies because they wanted to be the best. And like literally, they're like, no, we see each other every audition. But when we were coming up, but like that was my friend, and it'd be like, hey, you going to this one later? You're like, yeah, I am. And then like they both popped off in the same movie. Godfather
Right.
2, and then they've literally been like real good friends their whole careers and
Well,
lives.
you know, I don't
It's
know.
crazy that like people just like assume that they must hate each
Because they're
other.
both great. It's
I
like,
might
what?
just
Two
be making
great
this up,
people.
but it feels like I've read this somewhere, and I've also read this through Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. But I think I've heard De Niro and Pitt, or not De Niro, Pitt, De Niro and Pacino both say that they were like rocks to each other because
Yes.
like, you're the only one that truly understands
Yes.
the life that I live, and
I-
we have that with each other now.
That was in a recent thing with them. So
And we could see the connection right from Heat. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Is in that diner scene,
Yeah.
there's one point where De Niro, after Pacino goes through his entire breakdown of his life and how it's about chasing guys like him, and that, you know, brother, if it's between you and some woman you're gonna make a widow, then you are going down. And then De
will
Niro
not
comes back.
hesitate.
And yeah, and then De Niro comes back with it though, and he says, "There's two sides of that coin. If I got to put you down, it is what it is." And when he said that, it clicked for me immediately. I was like, "Holy shit, we're about
They've
to watch
been building
Irishman
to it.
again." They've had this waiting. Scorsese saw that. I guarantee.
Well,
he
you know,
creamed his
I
pants.
also heard the two of them say that when they made Righteous Kill, they were at the premieres for it, each saying to each other, when the next one we make will be the one we're proud of. That'll be the one that we'll really be happy with, which is so nice.
What
Just
year did
say
Righteous
that,
Kill come
Jesse.
out?
2008.
Ooh, that's
Just
rough.
fucking say that to me. The fuck?
It's
Nick,
it's real.
How do you feel about Bobby D?
He's
The
incredible
Irishman.
in everything that he's done. Irishman, and it said this time cemented it that he is a partner in every scene. He is somebody that elevates every characteristic of everybody else, especially Jimmy, his hubris, the way that he interacts with everybody and his position and things, because Frank ends up getting to a higher position technically than Jimmy does, but it's just because he's doing the right thing and following orders, where Jimmy is doing it the literal complete opposite way. And it works.
He's
with him.
trying to go in a ragtag, one-man band situation.
Yeah. and it just falls out. And even then, they give him a lot of leeway. They try really hard.
I
to
said
give him
that
a
to Frank at
chance.
a certain point. I was like, Russell especially tries insanely hard.
Harder than someone like Russell would?
Yeah,
No,
it's actually
it's kind of
crazy.
shocking that he tries that hard.
I don't know why it never clicked before this viewing. The like how many times Russell is like defending Jimmy before he's warning Jimmy. He tries defending him to the what's the guy's name?
Tony?
Salerno.
Salerno. Thank you.
Tony.
I was like, Salazzo.
Tony.
What's
Which Tony?
Salazzo?
Tony
They're all
Salerno.
They're all
Tony.
fucking same.
The other
Of
Tony.
course, they're all named fucking Tony.
The other
Can't
was
they think of another name?
Salerno.
I mean, like, he's not wrong. Have I talked about that? I'm like, I definitely did during Goodfellas. They're all named the fucking same. Everybody in my family. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Tony, Mike, Paul. Doesn't matter.
A lot of Marias.
Bill,
Anyway,
not Paul.
you're saying.
Fucking, I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. Bobby D rules. And what? How do you? All right.
I was going to say, Pacino, absolutely incredible
Over
in this.
Pesci?
What? And see, that's something that I was going to bring up as well. I think Pesci's performance in this is something that is one of the best things that he's done. And that's after seeing him in Raging Bull, after seeing him in Casino, all these other roles that he's done some really amazing stuff alongside Robert De Niro.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, the way that he plays it reserved, but just as chilling, especially the one scene that I didn't realize how early on it was when he walks in after killing somebody and
Yeah.
stares at his wife. That look that he gives her
We'll always
sends
talk about that
shivers
scene.
down my fucking spine.
Yep.
Yep. And when that cut from when De Niro shoots at the Nazis in the grave to Pesci eating the bread and
Like
staring at him,
smiling.
it's just like he
And
knows.
that understanding
He knows.
immediately when
Yep.
they're having that conversation in Italian.
So who I know they're both amazing, obviously, but who? Pacino or Pesci?
I gotta go with Pacino just for the fun factor because I think
We have a winner.
Yeah, just
We
because
have a winner.
he has heat levels of great ass you motherfuckers, you wop cocksucker. Like
He
it's
runs
just
the
so
full gamut. He does a bit of Corleone. He does a bit of Carlito. He does a bit of Vincent Hanna. He's got it all.
It's a culmination.
If only there were
all
more
of them.
cruising in The Irishman.
No. It's okay. If anybody has the cruising, it's Bobby D. Yeah. Just like wandering through, like, where am I?
No, we needed more BDSM in The Irishman.
I mean, we need
that brings a
the
whole
ISM and all
that brings a
the
whole new
Irishman.
meaning to the name Peggy.
More dancing.
Stop.
Nick, you're cut off. Get off of the episode.
I'm out.
No, hold on.
No, it's fine.
We got a few more minutes. Few more
What,
minutes.
what are some things that we haven't prompted you that you would like to say about The Irishman?
Well, I just think it's something that like Brandon definitely echoed that it should be watched as a full movie, and I've heard a lot of people say that they watched it as a miniseries and they didn't connect with it as much, and it just doesn't work that way.
I mean, if you want to, like,
It's
you
a
watch it one
movie.
time all the way through, and then from that point out, you're like, I'm only taking it an hour at a time. It's like,
Sure.
yeah, sure, I'm still going to be sad, but, like, you're not really going to feel the weight of this movie unless you sit down for that entire fucking snail race of 3 hours, even though it's not really a snail race. Like, the first half gets by with being, like, fun and quirky and you're trying to learn, but even in the latter half where it's supposed to, like, really slow down and you're sitting there with it, I feel like it doesn't feel slow to me until after, like, Hoffa's officially dead. But even when it's slow, it's only because it's like, yeah, now you're here. What now?
Life slows down.
You know, that's the difference between, well, not the difference, but one of the things that I love about Raging Bull is all about your journey all the way to the top. And then once you get there, what do? And this one just seems like it's a way more meditative version of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's like that scene at the end when he's sitting there into the wheelchair and you see the ring on his finger. And you're like, well, what does it mean now?
What is it? Yeah.
At the time, it was the most
Everyone's
important thing.
dead already. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't mean shit anymore. It just means a memory to him, which no one else remembers.
And literally, we watched this movie with a couple people today who had never seen it before. They're not on the podcast today, unfortunately.
Or
But
not?
no, I don't think so.
Shameful.
Shameful. But neither of them had ever heard of Jimmy Hoffa.
See, and
Even
that-
out of the movie's context or anything, I was like, oh, yeah, it's about Jimmy Hoffa. And they were like, who? I was like, Jimmy Hoffa. They
Well,
were
and I
like,
guess-
what do you mean? Who's that?
He
And
was
I
like Elvis, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Well, and I relate to the scene though where they say, to young people at least, maybe they know that he disappeared, and I only know that because of the MythBusters. That originally, before I really like dove deep into him because of this, and then some of the stuff I had heard.
What do you take away from The Irishman, Nick? Like, what-
Overall.
yeah, what's the feeling? What's the lesson? What's the mood? What's the inspiration? What
Where does it
what
put
does it
you?
give you?
I think it's for better or for worse. You are gonna have to sit with your life at the end of it, no matter what. You're gonna have to choose how you feel about everything that you've done, and if you've got a lot of things, and that's the thing about Frank Sheeran is that there was no other options for him. He gave himself to a system that put him in a position he had to destroy the only positive thing in his life, and that brings me to the point about Peggy too, because I think that that's what makes it drive so hard home is that Jimmy's the only person that really felt like a father to Peggy in a lot of ways. Not even Frank was to her.
Jimmy was Frank's bridge to Peggy, if anything.
Yeah, if anything, they
was his
allowed
one
them
lifeline.
to have some sort of semblance of a relationship. And when that was destroyed, it was absolutely done. And I think Frank and I have talked about this, that the way that people talk about Peggy in the movie sometimes is a little disparaging, saying that like she didn't get enough screen time, she barely talked, you know. And I think that's something that is the most poignant point of the whole movie, is that she is an afterthought in Frank's life, because this is ultimately from his perspective. It's him reflecting on his life.
The headspace.
Yeah, exactly. So she's absolutely absent throughout the entire movie, but it's the little things that she does that has so much strength, even in his mind. The looks that she gives, the few words that she says when she asks, "Why haven't you called?"
That's actually a nice observation. I noticed this time I mean, obviously he brings up Rini very early in his narration, but the first time you have any inclination he has children or a first wife is the scene where he grabs Peggy and then beats up the guy. Yeah. That's the first time. It takes like 25 minutes a movie before it's like, he has a family, and it's like, oh, he doesn't even have one. He has 4 kids. Like, what the fuck?
Honestly, though, it did. My first viewing, I do remember being like, oh shit, because like before that point in the movie happens is when the thought starts to creep up of like, all right, well, what is his personal life like actually? And then you finally get that first glimpse, and it's like, wait a minute. I didn't know you had like an entire, like not just like this is my first wife and we just had a baby. Like, no, bro, this is like a fully formed family that you haven't even mentioned yet.
Well, and that's the biggest thing. I think the full final takeaway for me is that he's living that corporate man lifestyle, giving himself to a system that doesn't give a shit about him, but he's doing it outside the system, quote unquote, even though they still all answer to the higher ups. The higher ups can still assassinate a president. They can assassinate a union president. It's something like, it's all subscribed to the same thing. He thinks he's a part of a different system, but it's the exact same thing, just different stakes.
Just different. Yeah.
Same people running it. It's not even like it's differently organized. It's the exact same. But it doesn't matter. It all it does is take away from his family, take away from his personal experience, and then at the end leave him wanting from any true experience. And it is what it is. There's no two ways about it.
Did we ask you what your favorite quote is from Irishman?
From Irishman, fuck.
No, okay, we did it from Heat. I was like, wait,
we did.
Good point. Good point.
Hit us with a quote or two. What gets your knickers about moving?
Yeah, Nick.
I really like when Russell gives him the ring and is saying, "I made you so powerful," because that's like
how
him.
strong I made you.
Yeah,
how strong.
Because that's just him reflecting, like, you know, because he calls him a son in that moment too. That's just
Does he say, "You're my boy, you're my son"?
You're my son. You're my boy.
Look how strong I made.
Fucking A. God, the betrayal.
Just feels so manipulative.
Well, and then also one scene that stuck out big time to me this time too was when Pacino grabs De Niro and he just goes, "I love you. I need this guy." Like he's overwhelmed with the joy for him and just knowing where it goes, knowing where it starts. In the very like second thing that you see, it's the gunshot. It's the pop.
Every scene I literally kept thinking it looks like Pacino and De Niro are in love. They literally look at each other like they're in fucking love, and it is not the same looks between him and Pesci.
No.
De Niro and Pesci, it is more like a father-son thing, which is its own relationship, whatever. But like
Business.
Pacino and De Niro, literally, it's like they're in love with each other.
Yes, he is the brother that is way
He's the
deeper
life
than
that Frank has been waiting for his whole life.
Yeah, and then same thing though with Pacino in that one. He feels that way about Frank. Where like they're both wanting each other. They were always waiting for this void to be filled.
Too much, man.
Yes, but even the first moment that De Niro meets Pesci, that's where it establishes the father-son, where he helps him with the thing. Oh, I don't know how to fix him. I just know how to drive him. It's okay,
timing
son.
chain.
Just tighten that up. You get that fixed. And then he asks him when he meets him like 3 weeks later.
Where are you from?
You got that fixed?
Oh, next day, sir.
Next day.
Good boy. Like,
Rough start.
Love it.
We love
Families
it.
are
We
tough.
love the Irishman. We can talk about it all day, man. But like, what else we got?
Yeah,
That's
Nick,
pretty much it. Nick, do you have any other final thoughts?
You say your piece.
I feel
Forever
comfortable.
hold it.
You're good?
Yeah, I think it's something that everybody needs. It's a very important movie, more so than people give it credit for.
We're never talking about he or the Irishman after this.
Shut the fuck up.
everyone
Shut
get
the
it
fuck
out.
up.
They're gonna be
Keep the
they're
door
gonna be
open a
brought up
little
like every
bit.
episode.
Keep the door open a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And on
I'm
that note,
so upset that that's not the final line of the movie.
That's the final line of the movie.
It's the priest going, "Okay." I'm like, "Fuck!" It's like you almost had
you
it.
son of a bitch.
It's like he had the real last line, but fuck, whatever.
Are you looking at my ears?
No. What are you talking about? I'm not looking at you. All right, that's it.
Well, Jesse and Brandon, Either you want to say anything before
No,
we're
man.
done?
The aging is bad and his hand looks weird.
Hey. it's
Don't go
forgivable.
out on that note.
What?
Say something nice about the Irishman right fucking now.
It makes me feel like I can be closer to Frank.
Me?
Yeah.
Really?
Very
Yeah.
specific takeaway.
Why?
Every time you finish this movie, your walls go down and I can get in a little bit
The
closer.
walls go down. It feels like they go up.
Nope.
No.
That's the trick, isn't it? When I think they're down, they're up, and when I think they're up, they're down. Fuck
Man.
me. What is this? Are we
Whatever.
doing a therapy
We're
sesh?
done. We're done.
Let's start.
All
When I
right.
was a boy.
And bye-bye.
When who was a boy?
Wait, I'm Frank.
I'm
when
Jesse.
I was Brandon.
And I'm
If you-
Nick.
Yeah, Nick, you'll be back soon.
Yeah.
If
Yes,
you
love you
fucking
if you
soon.
are a regular listener, if you're a chronic listener of the Chronic Canon,
Hey.
go ahead and pop on over to our next episode, the Ceci Roll Up,
Yes,
where we will
sir.
be covering Ceci's whole career, not just the Irishman. So stay tuned for that.
Giving a little bit of an award show, if you will.
We didn't know
yeah.
what we were doing. Just bear with us, but it's going to be cool listening.
Yeah, this is the first roll up. There will be probably better ones in the
More
future.
organized, hopefully.
It was
100%.
decently organized.
And
It
on
wasn't
that
like
note,
bad.
and bye-bye,
And bye-bye.
and bye-bye,
Way in the
Bye-bye.
future.
and bye-bye.
Way in
Way
the
in the
Way
future.
future. Way the future.
Stupid motherfucker.
Stars.
So fuck.